Welcome to Science 4 for Quarter 2, Week 4, Module 11, The Circle of Life. The learning competency for Module 11, you will compare the stages in the life cycle of organisms. Specifically, this module will help you to identify and describe the stages of life cycle of some animals that undergo complete metamorphosis. Identify and describe the stages of life cycle of some animals that undergo incomplete metamorphosis. Lesson 2 talks about life cycle of selected animals, complete and incomplete metamorphosis. Just like plants, animals also go through changes as they grow. Some animals and other insects go through 3 stages, and others go through 4 stages. Now class, let us find out what do we mean by metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a biological process by which an animal physically develops after birth or hatching. It is part of the life cycle of most insects. The term metamorphosis refers to the way insects develop, grow, and change form, usually accompanied by change of habitat or behavior. Most insects go through the 4 stages of metamorphosis. Some animals also go through only 3 stages in their life cycle. So for today's lesson, we are going to explore more on the life cycle of animals. Let's start with the life cycle of a butterfly. First stage is the eggs. Eggs are laid on plants by the adult female butterfly. These plants will then become the food for the caterpillars. The second stage is the larva. As the caterpillar grows, it breaks its skin and sheds it about 4 or 5 times. Food eaten at this time is stored and used later as an adult butterfly. The third stage is the pupa. When the caterpillar is developed and stops eating, it becomes a pupa. The pupa of butterflies is also called a chrysalis. The fourth stage in the life cycle of a butterfly is an adult butterfly. Adult butterflies have long legs, long antennae, and compound eyes. They can also fly by using their big and colorful wings. Life cycle of a butterfly is an example of complete metamorphosis because it has 4 stages. First stage is the eggs. Second stage is the larva. The third stage is the pupa, and the last stage is the adult. Another example of complete metamorphosis is the life cycle of a mosquito. First stage, eggs. eggs are laid one at a time or attached together to form wraps. They float on the surface of the water. Second stage is the larva. The larva lives in the water and comes to the surface to breathe. Larva sheds or molts its skin 4 times, growing larger after each molt. The third stage in the life cycle of a mosquito is the pupa. The pupa stage is a resting, non-feeding stage of development. The fourth stage is the adult. The adult rests on the surface of the water for a short time to allow itself to dry and all its body parts to harden. The wings have to spread out and dry properly before it can fly. This is the life cycle of a mosquito. First stage, eggs. Second stage is the larva. Third stage is the pupa. And the fourth stage is the adult. Life cycle of a mosquito is an example of complete metamorphosis. Let's proceed to the life cycle of a housefly. First, we have the eggs. A female housefly lays eggs in dark surfaces such as compost, manure, and other decomposing organic material for egg laying. The second stage in the life cycle of a mosquito is the larva. Within a day, housefly eggs hatch into a larva, also known as maggots. Maggots are legless, white insects that feed from the egg-laying site for 3 to 5 days. After the second stage, which is the larva, the third stage is the pupa. The pupa's hard brown shells protect the inactive developing flies. After 3 to 6 days, the pupa develops legs and wings and emerges as an adult housefly. The life cycle of a housefly is another example of complete metamorphosis because it has 4 stages, which is the eggs, the larva, the pupa, and the adult. And now, let us find out the life cycle of animals that undergo incomplete metamorphosis. Let's have first the life cycle of a cockroach. First stage is the eggs. The adult female cockroach lay eggs. They produce between 10 and 40 eggs at a time, which they carry in specialized cases. Second stage is the nymphs. Newly hatched cockroaches come out from eggs as nymphs. During this stage, the insects grow by shedding their skin until they become an adult. This process is known as molting. The third stage is the adult. When they turn into fully developed adults, their color becomes darker and harder. Their wings are fully developed during this stage. The 3 stages in the life cycle of a cockroach are: first, eggs, second nymphs, and the third is adult. Another example of the life cycle of animals that undergo incomplete metamorphosis is the life cycle of a grasshopper. First, eggs. Female grasshoppers lay eggs. Eggs are placed in a pod which contains up to 100 eggs inside. Eggs are placed securely. When an egg hatches, a small grasshopper comes out, called a nymph. During the nymph stage, the insect sheds its outer body, covering to grow. The nymph becomes an adult. It can take up to 2 months for a grasshopper to complete its life cycle, depending on the right conditions. Life cycle of a grasshopper is another example of incomplete metamorphosis, which has 3 stages: the eggs, the nymph or nymphs, and adult. Class, remember the following. All living things go through changes as they grow and develop. The process where organisms change and develop is called metamorphosis. Most insects go through the 4 stages of metamorphosis, such as butterfly, mosquito, and housefly. These insects go through complete metamorphosis. Some animals, such as grasshopper, dragonfly, and cockroach, only go through 3 stages in their life cycle. These insects go through incomplete metamorphosis. Now class, let's have an activity. In this activity, you are going to classify the following animals, whether they go through complete metamorphosis or incomplete metamorphosis. Write your answer in the table below.